morning, Farmer Jason here at Wave Fruit Farm. Today we're going to plant strawberry plants. Now these strawberries won't be ready for this year. They'll actually be for next year's crop. And so, but what we have to do is we have to get them in the ground this year. They have to establish themselves. They have to start to grow. They have to start setting runners. And then by next season, they'll actually be able to be picked. And so it's an important process, but it's one that takes a lot of work because it's hard to transplant plants versus planting seeds. So it's going to take a lot more work than some of the other stuff we've done, like planting the corn. But just like anything on the farm, there's always something that goes wrong. So this morning we went to start our tractor, and for some reason the batteries are dead. So we have to charge the batteries before we can get going here early on a Monday morning of all things to do this job. But today's sort of the best day to do it because of the fact that the weather is nice, the ground is dry. We had a lot of rain the end of last week, and then they're calling for a lot of rain the end of this week. So this is sort of our window to get it done, and so we're gonna try to get it planted today, but I'm gonna show you all the steps of the process. The first thing we have to do with this tractor is we're gonna spread fertilizer because it does make them grow a lot better. And then we're gonna harrow the ground down to make sure that that mixes the fertilizer in as well as it gets the ground nice and soft. So that's what we're gonna start with, and we'll show you those processes. All right, we're gonna try it and see if it starts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Woo! All right, that time it actually worked. The previous 3 times it didn't. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hook this big funnel up to our tractor, and what we do is we put these bags of fertilizer in that funnel. It's just nitrogen. Nitrogen is very important to make the plants grow well. Without it, they just don't grow very good, and so it's part of it. One of the things I do every year is I have a soil analysis taken of the soil to see what it needs, because the last thing we want to do is put on too much fertilizer, but by the same token we have to put on enough to make sure that the plants actually grow. So we're not going to put on all that much today. Our soil levels are pretty good, being that a lot of the stuff we do is not very hard on the soil. We don't have to do a lot of fertilization here. You know, certain crops take a lot more fertilization. With a lot of the orchard and specialty crops, they don't. So we're lucky in that regard. So we're going to hook this thing up, and then we'll go from there. So what I found is that this is the easiest way to do this. Is I put the bags on my truck, we get out here to the field, throw them up over here. What we do is we dump the little fertilizer right in. All right, so my funnel's full of fertilizer. We got a nice full funnel with the fertilizer. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the gate, and then Fidel's gonna take off. And so what we're gonna do is this is the gate for the fertilizer. So now we open it, and you can see it starting to pour out. And so he's gotta go now, and it'll start spitting out. He'll kick on his PTO. Woohoo! And off he goes. And so what that does is it puts down the fertilizer on the ground. These little white balls are the fertilizer, and what they're gonna do is they're really gonna make those brand new strawberries take off. Strawberries are pretty good once they get going, but it's just nice to have a little bit of fertilizer on them to get them kick-started, get them growing. If not, it doesn't work. So this is the first step. Now what will happen is if we just leave it lay out here on the field like this, all of it will evaporate up into the sky. So the next step is we're gonna get this incorporated down into the soil. So that's what we'll show you next. All right, now we're in our other shop that has a lot of our transplanting and strawberry equipment. This big machine is actually for transplanting trees. We'll show that to you next year. This guy is for weeding strawberries as well as that one. And right now what we're doing is we're hooking on our transplanter. And so what this machine will do is it has seats on it, and we'll put trays on it, and it'll hook up. So now we're hooking up it. I've got one side on, and we'll show you hooking up the other side here, and we'll get it ready, and I'll show you all the little intricacies of it. So we're gonna try to hook up the other side. Fidel's gonna be my crew man helping me hook this up as well as my cameraman. So if the camera bobbles, we're sorry. So let's get over this other side. All right, here you go. Now what we have to do with this is these arms move. Give that a kick, Fidel. You get in here. All right, give that a push. There we go. All right, so now that part of the machine is hooked up, and what we do is this one has a lot of the ability to be flexible, but also it's nice and stable. So none of those are hooking in right now. We'll have to move the machine a little bit. So now what we've got to do is we've got to hook up our 3-point hitch arm, which is this guy right here. And the problem is, most people think tractors are just, you just pull them up, part everything in. There's actually a lot of adjustment that has to go with this, to where you have to get it adjusted just right, or else the machinery doesn't work. So Fidel's gonna have to hop in the tractor, try picking this up, and I'll try getting this in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a pin, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a pin that's over there. All right, here, Fidel, you wanna take the camera and try picking it up slowly. All right, so what we're actually gonna have to do with this one is it's too high. So we're gonna get rid of our supports. That this is on. All right, so now, Fidel, now that I've got rid of the supports, drop them back down. Keep going. All right, hold up, let me extend this a little bit. Let me extend this bar out. What we can do is we can turn this one. We'll extend it out a little bit. Drop it just a little bit more. Down just a little bit. Right there. Keep going. A little bit. Right there. All right. So now we've got, whew, let me trip over a block. Now we've got it basically hooked up. Now what we're gonna have to do is go ahead and pick it up once, Fidel. We're gonna have to get our arms locked back in. So we're gonna pick the whole machine up. All right, keep going. Keep going until the whole thing's off the ground. Keep going, all right. Now Fidel, hold up right there. Go ahead and take the camera for me. What we have is these arms lock in. Now what I wanna do is I wanna get it centered on the tractor. So we got that arm locked in. Now what we've got to do is we've got to lock this other arm in. What it is, this controls how much that machine sways back and forth. And so what I want to do is I want to lock these arms in place, because what will happen is then when we're out in the field, there we go. That way when we're out in the field, it won't sway as much. And so this tractor's good because it keeps that real locked in and it's centered on the tractor, so it's easier for us to do. All right, we're gonna pull. Oh, I almost forgot. You always want to put the safety pin in, your 3-point hitch arms and your pins on these, or else the piece of machinery will fall off, and we've had that happen and it's not fun. All right, so Fidel, try pulling out of here without running me over. And what we're gonna do is we'll head up to the field with this. All right, so out of the shop he goes, and I'll show you in the field. All right, out of the shop he goes, and what we'll do is we'll show you in the field how that works. It's sort of a gnarly machine. It doesn't always cooperate super well, but it's the best thing there is for transplanting strawberries, especially the ones that we use, which are called the plugs. They're not live transplants. They are alive, but they're dormant when we put them in. But we'll show you all that here in a second. Right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up the harrow. It's sit down in here in the fields right next to where I just planted all the pumpkins last week. And so they'll be growing here very shortly. Always excited to see them come out of the ground. And what this machine does is it runs over the ground, and it uses these sharp forks. It uses these to drag across the ground. And what that does is it levels out the ground and makes it smoother for planting, as well as gets rid of any of the lumps that are in the ground. All right, so we're gonna hook this up very similar to how we hooked up the other pieces of machinery. So Fidel's coming back. Whoop. This gummy band holds the arms together so they don't bounce off the tires. All right, and what we're gonna do is the same thing. So we're gonna get one side in. Right there, whoop, up. Sometimes I use a persuader. Okay, now we climb over the machine. Try not to kill ourselves in the process. Oh, this one's outside. Now turn your wheels that way a little bit, go forward a little bit, and then we'll come back. So this one was outside the envelope, so we gotta get in. Okay, whoop, back. Can you go down, Eddie? Pick it up once. Up, yep. All right, down. What we had to do is get our block back underneath there, so that way when he went down, it's level. Yep. All right. Back just a little bit. Yep. All right. Now, what we have to do, just like the previous one, I'll put away my persuader. This arm is called our 3-point hitch arm, and I had to take it out a long ways to get that fertilizer tank on it. So now what I've got to do is I have to go through the painstaking process of getting it all back in. You can see it's threaded right here, and so what I have to do is I have to get it back into those original threads. These threads are clean. What it is these threads are clean because these ones are dirty, these are clean. These are clean because all I did was spread fertilizer. The dirty ones were where it was the last time I harrowed with it. So it's an easy guide to see where I need to go. So, all right. So what I'm gonna do is get that all the way back in. All right, we're back where we need to be. Now the problem is, it won't fit in there because I'm too high. So Fidel, pick the whole thing up a little bit. I've got to get rid of those blocks so we can go down far enough. So now, perfect. Okay, we're gonna take this out to the field and I'm gonna show you how the harrow works. We're gonna get that fertilizer incorporated with it and get the ground smooth so we're ready to plant strawberries today. All right, so Fidel's gonna start the harrow here. You can see how the tractor is ready. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna break up that soil. And I'll show you sort of the soil before and after. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna drop that down onto the soil and he's gonna start going forward. And you can see how it just takes that soil and makes it so much smoother. So what it does is it takes the hard soil over here that is rough, has some clumps in it, and what it's doing is it's breaking all that up. So now we have a nice, uniform, soft soil to plant those strawberries in. And so, and also too, I had those little balls of fertilizer and incorporates them in the ground so they don't off-gas into the environment and they don't off-gas off and we don't waste that nitrogen. Because A, it's too expensive, B, it's just too, it's not good for that to be wasted. You want it to be incorporated. You want the plants to use that, not waste it. So that's why we're doing this. So he's gonna go out across the field probably 2 times. We'll harrow it and then we're gonna start planting. So I think this is gonna be the end of video 1. This is just all of the different things we had to do just to get ready to plant strawberries. You know, it's only now 8 something in the morning. We've already hooked and unhooked how many pieces of equipment. moved all sorts of stuff around. And so it's a lot like if you've ever done a home improvement project. Sometimes it takes longer to set up than it does to actually do the project. And that's sort of the way farming is. The only difference in farming is, trust me, it's gonna take us a long time to plant all these strawberries. It's a big field. We have almost 2.5 acres here. We have 13,000 plants. And so we'll show you that process in our next video. But I just wanted to show you sort of how much goes into just getting ready to plant, you know, and how much work there is just in hauling all this equipment back and forth and moving and hooking, unhooking, fertilizing, harrowing, you know. So and what we haven't shown you is originally we plowed this soil and we harrowed it twice already. So it's a lot of work to do some of this stuff, and sometimes, you know, you don't see it. So wanted to show that to you. So this will be the end of video 1 of how to plant strawberries. What we'll do is we're going to start video number 2, and that'll show you the actual process that we use to use that transplanter to get them in the ground, and sort of the difficulties with that thing. It never works all that well as just everything that goes into that. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you with video 2 on how the strawberries get planted.